Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our business planning masterclass, where in this section we're going to be introducing you to some workbooks and templates that we hope will help you to create your financial plans and forecasts for your business plan. We're going to be looking specifically at how to develop your cost and pricing strategy, and this is all about working out the component costs of your products so that you can come up with sensible and profitable pricing for your product ranges. We're also going to be looking at your sales and cost forecasts, and this is all about identifying and predicting how many sales you aim to achieve during a set period and how much it's going to cost you to actually produce those sales. Importantly, we're going to also help you to identify your own personal survival budget, and this is important because this is going to identify how much money you need to earn each month from your business in those early stages to cover your living expenses. And then finally, all of this data is then going to feed through into your cash flow forecast. And this is going to tell you how much money is due to come in and out of your business and when. And this is going to be an important element within your business plan and will be included within your business summary. So we're going to move straight on to sharing with you some of the templates and spreadsheets that you can use to help with this process. So depending upon your way of working, you may just wish to continue with the workbook that you would have already started completing as part of the business planning process. And you may wish to continue here and write down all of your financial plans and forecasts in paper format first. So from section 10 of the workbook, page 26, that's where the financial planning section starts. So you'll see there's a series of tables and charts that you can use to actually plan out all of your financial costs and plans. So here we've got our cost and pricing strategy, which you can complete in pencil. And we've got our sales and cost forecast chart on section 11. We've got our personal survival budget on section 11. And our cash flow forecast on 11.3. And finally, we then got our cost table on 11.4, page 34. So, as I said, it's a good idea if you just get your ideas out on paper first, and then you can finalize these within a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to take you through to the spreadsheets now to show you how these will work. So you'll see in the resources section, not only have you got access to the workbooks, but also some financial planning templates that you can use to create your financial forecasts. And in the first tab, there's an introduction which just explains how to use the template and what's included. And the first section is going to relate to costs and prices relating to your products. And this section is all about developing a pricing strategy for your products and services. Now, this is absolutely vital because many business owners and female entrepreneurs that I speak to don't have a clear pricing strategy. This is very common in creative industries as well, where I hear a lot of people that really decide upon their pricing based upon what competitors are doing. But this is a very dangerous thing to do, because how do you know that your competitors are actually pricing their products correctly? How do you know that they've gone through the process of accurately calculating the cost of the products and services that they offer so that they know that they're profitable? So this is the process that you need to go through, first of all, to identify and decide upon your pricing strategy. Now, you'll see from this spreadsheet, it's got products and services 1 through to 5. Now, if you're a startup business or a young business, you may only have one product and service, in which case only fill out one column. Obviously, if you have more than one product, then feel free to add the data into these columns as well. If you happen to have more than 5 products and services, if you're quite confident using spreadsheets, then you will be able to add the columns and transfer over the formulas yourself. But if you don't and you need some help in creating some spreadsheets that are specific for your business, then obviously you should be able to find somebody within the Victories Entrepreneurs community that would be able to help you. But this template, we've created it to be as easy to use as possible. And we're going to assume, for the purposes of this demonstration, that you are a business with one product and service. So what you need to do here is actually enter the number of units in your calculation. So we're going to assume here that we are pricing up, let's say a company that produces jewellery, because I do have a lot of people within Victories Entrepreneurs that are jewellery makers. And we're pricing up the cost of making one silver clay charm. If it were, let's say you make homemade soup or something like that, and it's difficult to actually calculate one unit, you may want to calculate it in batches, in which case you know, let's say you're calculating on 4 batches of soup or something, then that's what you would put in here. But as I said, we're going to assume this is a jewellery making business, and we're going to calculate the cost of creating one silver clay charm. So again, what you would need to do in this circumstance is think about what components go in to making this particular product. So let's assume that you use 6 grams of silver clay, and the cost of 6 grams of silver clay is £12.24. Now this is, I'm not putting in factual numbers here, so if you do produce silver clay jewellery, I don't know I don't know which suppliers you use, I don't know the current cost of silver clay. I'm putting in random figures here. You actually need to go through the process, looking at your suppliers, how, you know, what quantity of materials you use to make your products, and actually put in accurate costs here. Let's assume that you use moulding compound. And again, you'd need to weigh out exactly how much you use, and then have a look at the size of the pot, the weight of the pot, and then actually calculate exactly how much you use and the cost of that item. So let's assume you use 50 pence worth of moulding compound, and you use liver of sulphur, and let's assume you use 1 pence worth, and you would probably have a jump ring, which we will assume is 35 pence. You're likely also to have some sterling silver finding, so like we'll assume you've got a snake chain necklace, and the cost of that is £5. Also, if you have any packaging costs, so for jewellery you're likely to have a gift box, put in the cost of your packaging, and we'll assume again that's £5. Now, if you sell your jewellery online, for instance, or your products online, do you need to include the cost of shipping into your component costs? Well, that depends upon whether you charge extra for shipping or whether it's free shipping. Obviously, if it's free shipping, you need to build that cost into the cost of your products. Otherwise, if you charge the customer for shipping, then obviously that doesn't need to be included in here. So what this has done then is actually calculated the cost of producing this item, £23.10. What you then need to do to come up with your pricing strategy is actually factor in your time. And this is where many businesses go wrong, particularly creative businesses, craft businesses. They don't actually factor in or value their time. But it's obviously vital that you do, because you're running a business and not a charity. You need to factor in your time. So think about not only the component costs, but how much time has it actually made you taken you to produce this product. Let's assume that this particular product has taken you 20 minutes, half an hour or something like that, and you would like to earn £50 for your time in producing that product. Enter, so really you want to work out what you want to earn per hour and then break that down. So let's assume you want to earn £50. You put that in your profit margin pounds here, and what that will do, you can see here, is actually calculate what price you would need to charge your customers for this product, assuming the cost of making it and the pound profit margin that you actually want to achieve. And it also will then automatically calculate the profit margin and markup in percentage terms here for you as well. Now, once you've got your price per unit, the price that you're going to charge your customers, obviously you need to do some research and actually just check how does that compare to your competitors. Obviously there's not a problem if your prices are more, but you need to, if they are more and if they're significantly more, you need to understand yourself, are customers likely to pay more for your particular products and services than your competitors? If so, why? What value or USP do you have that which actually warrant your customers paying more than your competitor down the road? Now, customers do pay more. They pay for quality, they pay for premium service, but this needs to be accurately reflected in your branding and your marketing. So as I said before, never be tempted to follow competitor pricing, because competing on price is never a good thing to do. You really need to find out what your USP is, your differentiator, what makes you different. And as I said, customers will be willing to pay more so long as you offer quality products and services or something unique to them that's of value to them, and that it is reflected in your branding. And I would recommend also that you look at our branding strategy masterclass as well to actually help with your branding if you haven't done so already. Okay, so this is assuming one product. Obviously, if you do have more than one product, you can go through this process and add all of your products in here, and it will calculate the data as just demonstrated. Once you've done that, you then want to go on to your sales and cost forecasts. Now, this is actually all about creating a sales forecast for your business. So what we've got here is the months 1 through to 12. We haven't put it in calendar terms, January through to December, because obviously you may be starting your business in September or halfway through the year, in which case you'll want to put your launch date in here, whatever that is. So enter the months and the dates in here. Now, obviously I'm not going to go through the process of doing that because that will take a lot of time, but I just want to quickly show you how you would use the spreadsheet. So first of all, put your month of launch, June. So let's say it's June, July, August, September. Put that all the way through to month 12. Then you need to look at how many products you think you're going to sell each month and in that particular month. So let's just put a couple of months in here just to demonstrate it, but I'm not going to do all of them. Okay, so let's say that obviously in this example is somebody that makes silver clay jewellery. Be realistic with your forecast, because obviously in your first month you're not likely to do massive amounts of sales, so you really need to be realistic in terms of your sales, in terms of what marketing activities you've got planned for your launch and things like that. And in most businesses you'll see an increase in sales gradually. So let's say in your first month that you think that you're going to sell 10 pieces of jewellery. Let's say in July you think 15. August, maybe it'll go down because everyone's on holiday. Maybe in September it's going to go up because people are starting to think about Christmas and particularly jewellery is a gift item. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is when you're doing your forecast, you need to be realistic, and you also need to factor in any seasonal assumptions. So there are going to be, for particular products, particular spikes in sales and also drops in sales during particular months. So for instance, a jewellery business, you might expect to see higher sales leading up to Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, and maybe you might be a little bit quieter after Christmas in January. Don't just put random figures in here, because that's not going to help you. You actually need to give some real thought to realistically how many products you think you can sell per day, per week, per month in particular months. And you also need to give consideration to how many days a week you're working, because obviously if you're only working part-time on this, then perhaps you're likely to do less sales than if you were actually working full-time in this business. So factor in all of this into your sales forecast and go through this process of adding your sales forecast into the relevant columns here. Now, I'm not going to complete all of this data because that's going to take a long time, and the purpose of this is just to demonstrate to you what you need to do. You'll see then, so product service 1, and you can rename this. So let's say we want to call this fingerprint jewelry charm, or maybe this product is baby castings, or maybe this is memory boxes or photography services or lawn mowing services, whatever it is. Obviously you can change this yourself. When you have put in your sales forecast here, what you'll notice is it automatically will then calculate your sales revenue by month. So in June, what it's done is it's actually taken the data from your cost and prices worksheet, and because we said that the price of the product is £73.10, what it has actually done here is calculated £73.10 times 10 for that particular month to give you a sales revenue of £731, and obviously it's done the same as your sales have increased. Here is actually calculated what your sales revenue would be by month based upon your sales forecast. It's also calculated your cost of sales, and it's taken this also from the cost and prices tab. So you'll see here that the cost of producing this product 1, was £23.10. So again, this has been reflected here in the sales and cost forecast. So to make 10 of these items is going to cost you £231 in materials. So if you again go through that process, first of all, of completing your costs and prices and your pricing strategy, and then go through the process of actually creating your sales forecast and completing this spreadsheet. Make sure also down here that you make a note here of any assumptions that you've made about seasonal trends. So for instance, as I said, you might make a note, for instance, on the December column, peak in sales due to Christmas, or January drop in sales post Christmas, or leading up to Mother's Day. Just put why the sales have increased, or why the sales have reduced, or what assumptions that you have made. Once you have completed your sales and cost forecast, then vitally important, you also need to look at producing your survival budget. Your survival budget is all about looking at your own living expenses so that you are certain that you are going to have enough money coming in to basically meet your living expenses. So you need to go through a process of looking at all of your own personal costs. How much do you pay in for your mortgage or your rent, your council tax, your utilities, your phone and internet, your telephone, your insurance, all of these things, and you need to add all of this data into the spreadsheet. You also need to look at the income that you've got coming in. So maybe you're running this business part-time, but you also have a part-time job. Put in income from your existing employment if you're continuing with that. Put in income from your partner, what other income is coming into your household. And then what this will show you is what your total costs are for your personal household, and what your income is, and if there's going to be a deficit there. Because if there is, then that shows you actually what you're going to need to earn from your business in those early stages. Most businesses in the startup stage don't actually expect to draw a salary, but it is very important when you are starting a business that you do look at your own personal requirements and expenditure, so that you know that you're going to have some sort of buffer there. Hopefully once you've completed this, you'll see that you'll have a higher income than your costs. Otherwise, that should be a little bit of a red flag for you, because then that gives you a little bit of a buffer where actually you don't need to worry so much, that you can afford not to be drawing a salary from the business perhaps for the first few months. So that is the purpose of the personal survival budget. So please do make sure that you do that, and all of this data will also populate over into the next spreadsheet, which is the cash flow forecast. So I'm not going to enter all of this data in here because, again, it's very common sense, and it should, as you go through that process, it will all come into view, if you like, and hopefully make sense to you. Once you have done that, if you then go to your cash flow forecast, and this is where you actually need to look at the money that's going to be coming in and out of your business. Again, I'm not going to be filling in all of these rows because that would make for a very long and tedious training session. It is very common sense. So what we've got here is your pre-start, and what I would expect you to put in here is any cash injections that you are making into the business prior to launch. So for instance, you may have a business loan, put that in there. Maybe you put some of your own money in, put that in there. Maybe your parents or your husband or somebody's lent you some money, add it all in. You will see here that it will automatically transfer your projected sales over from your sales forecast. So that's already going to come in from this spreadsheet. You'll see here. So that's why you need to complete this spreadsheet in order so that all of the data populates correctly. You'll also see that it analyses and brings over your cost of sales as well from your sales and cost forecast. So that's all detailed in here. But what you will then need to do, once you've actually worked out what money you're putting into the business, and when, it may be that you're putting in, I've put this as a pre-start, but it may be that you're going to have an investment coming into your business at a certain time. Then obviously you would want to make sure that you add that into the relevant column here. But in most cases you would have a cash injection for your pre-start. Now let's assume that obviously you've got business loan here, which you would have to pay back. So if you have got a loan repayment, then you need to put in what are the monthly repayments of that loan. So again, I'm just putting some random figures in here. Make sure you put in your loan repayments into all of the columns. Then look at all of your other costs. What are these going to cost you per month? So if you have a studio or business premises, you need to put in your rent and your premises costs. What is that costing you per month? Obviously, if you're working from home, this may not be relevant, and in which case you can replace that row with something that is relevant to you. Business rates, what is that going to cost you a month? Business insurance, everybody needs to have business insurance, and you should have identified that as part of the earlier business planning process. You should be very sure of what business insurance you need for your particular business. Every business, for instance, needs public liability insurance. What is the cost of that? Are you paying it in one lump sum, or are you paying it monthly? If so, enter it into the relevant columns. Phone and internet charges, vehicle running costs, printing and stationery. Enter all of the data here and the month that you will be paying these. How much is it going to cost you a month? Marketing and advertising expenses. You should have already calculated this again from the earlier part of your business planning process when you were actually developing your marketing strategy and looking at your key promotional activities. So for instance, perhaps you're planning on doing some social media advertising and you're going to spend £50 a month on that. Make sure you put that in there. Perhaps you're going to be doing some Google pay-per-click advertising and you've got a budget for £20 a month or whatever, £100 a month. Make sure that you put this all in here. Your salary, are you drawing a salary from your business to start with? As I said, if you're a startup business, probably not initially, but you may, again, when you can start seeing, when you start adding this data and you can see your sales forecast and your costs, then there'll be a point where hopefully you can begin drawing a small salary from that, and hopefully that will gradually increase. And obviously if you've got any other staff costs, if you're hiring people, then that needs to be taken into account as well. Now again, like I said, I'm not going to be going through the process of adding data into all of these columns. It would be far too time consuming, and I think by the demonstration I've done here it should make sense. But when you have completed all of the columns and added all of the data, what you're going to be able to see here is in this column it's showing you the total money in, oops, sorry, I'm just going to go to the end row here, and then it will show you, so it's got it month by month, but obviously what you should see is that by the end of the year actually what your total money is. So that's going to be your sales revenue, and you're also going to see here, I'm just going to try and make this a little bit smaller so it's easier for you to see, and scroll across. In fact, yeah, that makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so I've got a little bit smaller so you can see here it's going to show you in this column end of year total money in. It's also going to show you here total money out, and in these columns it's going to show you your opening and closing balance. So you can see at the end of the year what basically sort of the health of your business in terms of your sales and costs, the money that you've got coming in and out of the business. It's vital to do this because you can then see, and you'll see as you put your figures in, you'll be able to see if there's any months in which you're likely to have any cash flow issues, i.e. less money coming in that you've got than you have going out, and then you need to have a think about is this something that's continuing as a trend, or is it just because you've got less sales coming in due to seasonal sales patterns? If it's something that's consistent and you're actually bringing in less money than is going out, then you know that somewhere here you're going to have to cut some of your costs. What can you do to cut your costs, or what can you do to increase your sales here? So that is the importance of actually creating these financial plans and having a final cash flow forecast, so that you can see really what the viability of your business is, if this is a new business idea, but also the likely financial health of your business moving forward, based upon your sales forecasts and your costs of sales, etc. Now, the final table is your cost table, and this is just really so that you can add a little bit more detail relating to your costs. And as you can see, this automatically transfers over from your cash flow forecast. So let's say if I put in rent and premises into here, which I don't think I have, let's put just a few columns in there, it will transfer over into this. It's really a summary of your costs, and this is really so you can put a little bit more detail about what's included in your costs and what's how you've worked it out. So for things like rent, rate and premises, it's probably quite obvious, but this is particularly relevant for instance, marketing costs. You might want to put, if you've got your total yearly marketing expenditure here, you might actually want to break this down so that you're spending X amount on Facebook advertising, X amount on Google advertising, X amount on attending events or whatever. So it enables you to break it down so you've got a really clear view of what you're spending your money on. Same here with vehicle running costs. If let's say you're running a lawn care business or something, how many tanks of you would have actually calculated your cost of how much you're spending perhaps on petrol, but how many tanks of petrol have you assumed that you're going to be using, for example, to actually run your business and to deliver the services that you're offering? So that is the purpose of this final table, and as I said, the data will automatically transfer through when you complete your cash flow forecast. But the purpose of having an extra table is here is just so that you can go into a little bit more detail, because it really helps you to have a clearer view and vision of what you're spending your money on, and particularly this is helpful in sections such as your marketing and advertising expenses and things like that. So I hope that part of the demonstration is really helpful. As I said, I've not gone into filling in all the detail because I think that would be very tedious, but it really is very simple to use. We've tried to make these spreadsheets as easy to use as possible, and it's really for you now to go through that process of adding all of your data into those, and this will be included within your business plan in the financial section. So I'm just going to quickly go back through to the presentation now. So once you have completed all of those financial spreadsheets that I have just demonstrated to you, then you need to also think about a backup plan, because sometimes, despite careful planning, the unexpected may happen and a business may struggle or fail, and so it's important to plan for this scenario with a backup plan. And quite often, sometimes all that's required are just really simple changes to your business, which will allow you to reduce your costs and increase your sales. And that is the reason that it's very important for you to do your financial forecast, so that you can very quickly see in spreadsheet form what sales you've got coming in, what your costs are, so that if you do get to a situation where you've got less sales coming in than what's going out, you can then think, okay, this cost isn't essential, I can cut this. Okay, what can I do to increase my sales? So that is the reason that financial planning is so important. So your action steps now are to use those spreadsheets and define your cost and pricing strategy, create your sales and cost forecasts, calculate your personal survival budget, and then create your cash flow forecasts and your cost table, which, as I said, will be automatically populated. Make sure also, I mentioned at the beginning of the training that you couldn't complete section 1 or 2 of your business plan, which was about your executive summary and elevator pitch, because you can't really do this until you've actually created your financial plans, because your executive summary is all about your business objective, short-term, medium and long-term goals, and obviously your final summary is taken from your cash flow forecast. So once you've done those financial plans, you can include them within your business plan, but also then go back to your executive summary and your elevator pitch and complete that to complete your business plan. Okay, I hope that you have found this training really helpful and hopefully has demystified the whole concept of creating your business plan and financial forecast. And I hope that you find not only the training but also the workbooks and templates really helpful in helping you to come up with a clear plan and vision for your business. Good luck, and I look forward to connecting with you within the private community. Bye bye for now.